Okay, moving on with I Shall Not Be Moved, Mississippi John Hurt. Last week we talked about basically just kind of getting the thumb going with the three different chords, the C, the G, the F, G, C. Having a little bit of a muffle, having the palm of the, just forward of the saddle, as opposed to that. Okay, so now the next technique we want to talk about is what happens with the upper fingers. Now you can pretty well play this song with just the thumb and the first finger. You don't really need much more. You could incorporate the thumb and the first two fingers, but you really don't need to. So when you're playing this style of guitar, I can see the left hand a little better. Move this out of the way. Generally, one of two things is going to be happening with the upper finger. So you have this going here. Generally speaking, and keep your hand on the C chord for this, you're either going to be playing the first finger on a string at the same time that you're playing the thumb, or you're going to be playing in between. So you're either going to be doing 1, 2, or in between 1, 2, 1 and 2, 1, 2. That would be the same case for any chord. You go to the G chord, right with the thumb, in between the thumb. So if we're calling the thumb 1, 2, 3, 4, we're either playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the next thing you would want to start practicing is playing the chords, the C, the G, the F, the three chords in even measures, and either playing the first finger with the thumb on the beat or in between the thumb off the beat. So I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit of C to F to G, and I'll just vary that. So we have C, I'm playing right on the beat, 1, 2, right with the thumb. Now in between, switch to G, sometimes with the beat, in between, back to the C, to the F, okay, so do some random practicing, trying to accomplish that. With the beat, in between the beat. Now, when you're going from the C to the F chord, if you're using the thumb, that's a very easy change, right? So you're on the C to the F. All I'm doing is bringing these two fingers down, adding the thumb. C, F, C, G, So once again, you want to keep in mind that's largely what's going to happen during this song, and pretty much for any song that you're doing this style of playing. Unless you're getting into something really tricky, that first finger is generally either playing right with the thumb on the beat or in between, and normally a variety thereof in any given song. Okay? Now, another thing that I want to acquaint you with, which you can add, take this step by step. This way you develop a good technique. There's no hurry in this, and this is why I'm doing not so much, looking at music and looking at tabs, though I do have a simple one here, just to give you the format of the song. It's really about developing the technique in the right hand, so that's what you want to be focused on. Do it slow enough so that you can go through those 3 chords on the beat to the F without dropping the beat. G, C. Now, the other thing that you can expand upon after you, and just do this after you get comfortable with that, is for the most part when Mississippi John played, when he did the second bass note, so if you're counting this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, he was generally, on that second one, he would more often than not catch a couple of strings like this. Instead of this, once again, there's a certain sloppiness to it because you're not trying to be super precise, but what you want to try to do is that first bass note. Try to catch that pair of strings. You'll every now and then do it. Sometimes you'll miss it. Sometimes you may even get 3 strings. Sometimes when you're playing the first bass note, you may get 2 strings. But in general, you want the single string, then the pair. Now, if you've listened to this, you probably realize that it's a very primitive, very unrefined sounding, which is kind of what gives it a lot of its charm. So once again, don't strive to be too precise. Just the main thing is just having the idea and the feel of the song in order to accomplish playing it. Now, what I have on the tab is I have the chord changes as they happen with the words. If you've listened along, there's a couple of different versions. One of the versions, if your guitar is tuned to pitch, you can actually play along in the key of C. That's the version where it's kind of a full frontal view of John, and there's a microphone, and I think it says like VOA or KOA on the microphone. That's the one where he's pretty well tuned to pitch. There are some other versions where he's tuned slightly lower, and those are good versions, but in order to play along with them, obviously you'd have to tune down. The other thing, once again, is the speed control on the YouTube. You can slow that down to 75% and play along, or even slower until you get so you can make the changes. So what I did is I put the words on the tab approximately where they fall with the chords, and so that you can follow along and even sing along. I always encourage singing along. Nobody can hear you, right? John wasn't a great singer. I'm not a great singer. You're probably not a great singer. So just, pardon me, just have fun with it. So if we look at the the first line, I'm just once again just showing the bass. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a little bit odd there. He plays the first measure 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the word shall and then not, he switches that G chord kind of early. But that's kind of the way he played the song. Normally that entire first line would both be C chords, but he switches on the word not, which is feels a little syncopated, but you do it a few times and you get used to it. So he has I shall not, right on that word not. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to play no first finger. I'm just going to play the thumb and I'm going to try to catch that extra string on that second beat of each measure. And you'll hear, that even just doing that, it's pretty full and you can kind of, sing along and go along with him in the music. So we got I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved like the tree planted by the water. I shall not be moved. Okay? Now what happens at the very end, that's the only place where he kind of varies the bass line a little bit. On the word moved, that final word moved, he plays 3, 2, then he brings these two fingers down as if you're going to a G chord, but you can leave your first finger where it is on the C. So we have 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, last measure 3, 2, and then just bring the thumb down and play the 2. So we have 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, then just the thumb. So that's the way he typically ends each verse, is with that little variation in the bass line. Okay, but other than that, it's pretty well just follows that pattern of, that standard pattern that we established for each chord. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one more time about here. So when he, backing up a bit, so when you look at that version, if you've listened to it, the one I'm referencing kind of starts in the middle of a little instrumental part. And that's why I put the words here with the chords, so you can kind of start playing along when he sings. And then, you'll be able to, stay with him. And then after you get to the end, if you just go right back to the beginning, that will continue to follow along. And that would be a good thing, because if you, like I said, put it on 75% speed and play through it several times, you'll build some endurance and some familiarity with the song so that you develop some muscle memory in both hands, and you'll be able to play the song with greater ease once we start adding a little bit more with the first finger, which we'll do next time. But right now I'll go through it again. So we got like 1, 2, 3, 4. I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved like a tree planted by the water. I shall not be moved. And then right back to the beginning, right? Neil, playing instrumental. I think he generally does a verse, then an instrumental, verse, instrumental. Okay? So, Those are the things that you want to practice. Once again, to review, practice playing the first finger, once again, just random, sometimes with the thumb, sometimes in between. You want this all to become very second nature. You really want to focus on just the repetition and getting so that it becomes muscle memory, a very, very little thought involved. Okay, so we talked about adding the first finger with the thumb and between, and then with the thumb, getting that when you're doing that second set, that second and fourth beat of each measure, getting that pair of strings kind of fills up the sound a little bit more, so you're getting more of a complete chord. So you're getting the bass line and the harmony. When we add the first finger, melody, so you got the whole little band there in the right hand. But I'm going to stress one more time, it's really about just developing the technique so that it becomes second nature and getting so you can switch through those three chords right on the beat. Practice at whatever tempo you need to in order to play on the beat and not have a lag in between each chord. Okay? And then finally, just referencing once again the end of the song where we have that little bit different bass line. 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, then just the thumb. 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, just the thumb. And right back to the beginning. Okay? So I hope that you're enjoying this. I assume you're practicing the arrangement still on, what is it? I forget the name of the song, the other one that we were doing. I'm getting old, I'm getting old, 70 years old. Old as Mississippi John Hurt. And, but this is a great tune. I love playing these kind of things, the old-timey music. It can be a lot of fun. So I hope you're enjoying it too. And any questions, feel free to ask.